She ruled an empire that spanned continents, but history remembers her for just one thing: a rumor so grotesque it echoed long after her death. Catherine the Great didn't just rewrite the laws of Russia, she defied the very men who ruled the world, and they fought back with the most savage weapon they had: her reputation. This is the story they never taught you in history class. Who was Catherine the Great really? A power-hungry seductress? A ruthless conspirator? Or a visionary ruler drowned in scandal? She toppled a czar, expanded a sprawling empire, and sparked a cultural revolution. And yet, the most famous thing about her is a myth involving a horse. What did Catherine know that made them so afraid? And what really happened behind those palace walls? This isn't just a biography. It's an autopsy of the most destructive rumor campaign in royal history. Let's start with the official history. Catherine the Great, born a minor German princess, marries into Russian royalty. Her husband, Peter III, is unstable, obsessed with toy soldiers and German uniforms. Seeing her chance, Catherine engineers a coup. He's overthrown, and shortly after, he's dead. She becomes Empress of all Russia. And that's when the rumors begin. Dozens of lovers. A secret tunnel running from the military barracks straight to her bedchamber. Men entering her room as soldiers and leaving as generals. And then, the rumor that simply refuses to die. That she was killed beneath a horse during an unspeakable act. But what if that's all it was? A story. Let's look at the evidence. First, her letters. Hundreds of handwritten letters between Catherine and a man named Grigory Potemkin reveal decades of love, humor, and deep respect. In one, she writes, "Wherever you are, you rule my heart." This wasn't debauchery. It was a partnership. Second, the numbers. Legends claim Catherine had over 300 lovers, but historical records show fewer than 20, and most of them were noblemen with significant political roles. These weren't orgies. They were appointments. Third, the foreign press. By the late 1700s, French and British pamphlets were mercilessly ridiculing her. Satire twisted into slander. Cartoons depicted her as a sexual tyrant. Why? Because a powerful single woman on a throne terrified Enlightenment Europe. Fourth, the horse. The myth first appears nearly 50 years after Catherine's death, in a French tabloid. There are no first-hand accounts, no evidence, no witnesses. Just a whisper campaign that metastasized into global folklore. And fifth, the so-called erotic cabinet. A legend of lewd paintings, statues, and furniture supposedly hidden in her chambers. There is zero proof it ever existed. Nearly every source traces back to a single, likely fabricated article from 1908. Still, the doubters persist. She was obsessed with control, they say. She ruled through manipulation. She couldn't keep her hands off anyone. Modern films, books, and series rarely portray her as a brilliant strategist. They prefer to show a woman ruled by lust, but is that historical accuracy, or is it character assassination? Historians admit that records were destroyed and diaries were rewritten. This leaves gaps, room to tell whatever story you want, and that's exactly what they did. So why does every attempt to tell the true story get buried? In 1950, a Soviet article debunked the horse myth. Weeks later, the magazine was pulled from circulation. In 2001, a documentary reimagined Catherine as a feminist icon. The reaction was a national scandal. Glorifying immorality, they called it. It's almost as if someone somewhere doesn't want this myth to die. What if this wasn't organic? What if the myth was designed? Declassified intelligence files from the early 20th century reveal something chilling. British and French agencies actively used sexualized slander as a tool to destabilize their enemies. Could this mean Catherine's legacy was rewritten by foreign propaganda? A psychological operation launched long after her death, with her reputation as the target. Catherine wasn't the first, and she wouldn't be the last. Think of Cleopatra, whose immense power was reduced to her love affairs. Or Wu Zetian, China's only female emperor, degraded by scandalous rumors. Even Lilith, the mythical first woman, was cast out for daring to defy Adam. Catherine follows the same tragic pattern. Challenge masculinity, and you pay the price. Your lust becomes your legacy, and nothing else survives. The truth is, Catherine the Great died of a stroke, alone in her chambers. There was no scandal, no spectacle. But the myth lived on. The world didn't bury an empress. It buried the woman who defied tradition. Her memory was rewritten by those who couldn't destroy her in life, so they destroyed her image in death. She was erased by the very lie that still circulates nearly 3 centuries later. Psychologists have a theory about this. It's not that people believe the rumor, it's that they wanted to. Because if even the most powerful women are just slaves to their desires, then the world order remains unchallenged. We get to stay comfortable. Fiction becomes a form of reassurance and the truth gets lost in the headlines. But if it never happened, why does every generation choose to believe that it did? Some say the horse is a symbol of untamed power, of independence, of the impossible burden that women in power are forced to carry, until it crushes them. Maybe it was never about Catherine. Maybe it was about us, and what we're afraid women can become when no one is holding the reins. So now the question isn't, did she do it? The question is, why do we still think she did? What if your idea of leadership, femininity, and history itself has been shaped by centuries of strategic lies? What if everything you've been taught about powerful women started right here, with Catherine? So now, what do you believe? Was Catherine the Great the scandal they say she was? Or was she simply a woman too powerful for her time? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because until we face the rumors, we'll never learn the truth. History didn't betray Catherine. We did. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the histories they didn't want you to know. See you next time.